I'm your host, Carolyn Solo, LCSW, EMDR therapist, and mom of 3 daughters. Thank you for joining me. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Future Template Parent Podcast. I'm your host, Carolyn Solo, PhD, LCSW, EMDR consultant, and mom of 3 daughters. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode all about the clinical tools you absolutely need to be an excellent and effective EMDR intensive therapist. Make sure to listen if you haven't already. Today's episode is going to be all about accountability when it comes to developing your business and how that's often the missing piece in coaching programs, both group programs and individual. I'm going to share a little research on accountability and why it's so important for success, and then talk a little bit about my upcoming group program that is starting in September, the first week of September, and tell you exactly how my program emphasizes accountability to be sure that you get the most value possible from the program and that you leave the group after 12 weeks or maybe even before we finish with a $5,000 intensive booked, at least one of them booked. So let's get into it. So there's a ton of research out there on how accountability and accountability groups, groups that help you get shit done, are crucial for making change in your business and in lots of areas of your life. All the great info in the world is fantastic, right? Maybe there's a great video program that you watch, maybe that you listen to a podcast, maybe there's a workbook. That's all fantastic. But often when no one's watching you and no one's holding your hand, making sure you're doing the things, not holding your feet to the fire, sometimes you don't finish this program or you don't get the results that the program can provide. And that's why I'm so fired up about accountability. I think accountability is essential for results in so many different areas. And it's something that I have seen personally thanks to my many years of teaching. So I have a PhD in social work, and so I've taught social work graduate students for many years. I also was a high school teacher for several years, 6 years, previous life. And so I taught in that environment as well. And so I really have seen myself firsthand on what actually gets students to learn the stuff they need to learn. And that's often accountability, right? Like almost every classroom, especially at lower levels, I feel like when kids become adults and we're in college and graduate school, there can be less accountability built in with this idea that, they're grown-ups now and they should be able to just learn the stuff on their own. And often that's when people start to see less success in whether it's a class or a program. So I think accountability is essential throughout the lifespan whenever we're trying to learn something or implement something or change something. Think about the difference between a teacher or a professor who says, okay, here's the syllabus. And then you get to class and they just stare at you and say, so what do you think of the reading? And how those discussions tend to go versus a professor who says, okay, for next week, here's the major theme. These are the 3 articles out of the 7 readings that I really want you to focus on. Here's a couple guided questions for you to think about. You're going to come in fired up and prepared, and you're going to be even more intent on doing that, on that preparation work, if that's a professor who holds you accountable, who actually asks about the things they asked you to think about in a very intentional way. What I think is really important as a college and university and graduate professor is to not just say, what do you think of the reading, but have guided classroom discussion, have a little bit of lecture at the beginning to review some main points so students know what they should be focusing on, have some small group discussion that students then bring their ideas to the larger group. That's the kind of accountability, right? A class is basically a built-in accountability group, right? There's stuff you need to learn, and there's a classroom in-person or virtual format to kind of safeguard that learning is actually going to happen. And like all groups, in a class, you get out of it what you put into it, right? If you don't do the reading, if you don't look at the, online discussion board, if you choose not to respond to the prompts, if you don't engage in the activities, your experience will likely not be as rich and educational. You won't get as much out of it. And, maybe you won't get as good of a grade, although grading to me is not the big thing. It's about what do you get out of it. But certainly there's a correlation often between how much you put into it and the outcomes, whatever those might be, whether it's a grade or learning. But don't just take it from me. Let's hear a little bit about what business coaching experts have to say about the power of accountability groups. So I'm going to be quoting from an article from the one and only Forbes magazine. The article is titled Accountability Groups, the Support You Need to Succeed in 2023. And the author is Rhett Power, like Rhett Butler, same spelling, the CEO of Accountability Inc., an executive coach, the host of bestseller TV, and an author. So what does he or they, I don't know their gender, have to say about accountability groups and their power? Let me read a quote from the article. So Power says, quote, "We all need help and support from others to reach our goals and achieve our full potential. The accountability group is the best way I have seen in my years of coaching to achieve success and reach those challenging goals. Accountability groups can be a powerful tool for helping individuals achieve their goals and make positive life changes. This is supported by a significant amount of research. You guys know I love research, which has found that accountability groups can be effective in a range of areas, including health behaviors, task and goal performance, and academic performance." They cite some research like the following: a study published in the Journal of Management, which is a big business journal, academic journal. This study found that employees who participated in an accountability group had higher levels of task performance and organizational citizenship behaviors compared to those who did not have the support of an accountability group. So that's talking about in an organization. And then similarly, a review of research on the effectiveness of accountability groups for improving academic performance found that students who participated in an accountability group, so that's basically what my group is an accountability group, you all are going to be students, had higher grades and were more likely to complete their coursework than those who did not have the support of an accountability group. So basically, our accountability group will make sure you get that A in my course, which is getting you to book a $5,000 intensive. Let's get that A for everyone. In this same article, Power, the author, gives 10 reasons for joining an accountability group and talks a bit about each. I won't read the descriptions, just what they are. And I think what's cool is that every single one of these, I was like, yes, yes, yes. This is in my group. This is built into my program. So these 10 reasons are: 1, increased motivation and productivity. 2, a sense of community. Huge. 3, improved goal setting skills. We're going to be doing that in my group. We're going to have you guys set goals each week in the group and then check in with each other. Increased accountability. Obviously, you're going to be checking in with each other. Enhanced problem solving skills. Certainly when you're working together, you're going to come up with better solutions. You're going to have all of these minds working together instead of just yours. A new sense of discipline. And what that really means in this context is self-discipline to get things done. So having that accountability actually makes you more likely to be disciplined about achieving your goals because you know other people are watching and waiting. Improved communication skills. Certainly when you're talking about your goals and talking about what you're doing, you do have to communicate well with others. Increased confidence, seeing what other people are doing, seeing how other people are implementing this stuff is going to make you feel more confident about doing it yourself. Networking opportunities. Certainly this is a huge thing that I'm hoping will come out of this group, that will continue to build this network of EMDR intensive therapists all across the world, who knows, who can support each other, cheer each other on, give each other ideas. And then great opportunities, therefore, for personal and professional growth. You're going to grow your business, but as we all know, all of us business owners, growing a business is also, it's like having a child to some degree. I mean, as a mom of 3, can't really compare the two, but there are some things in common. You grow incredibly as a person. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and face a lot of stuff that's hard to face about yourself, but important, right? There's huge personal growth that comes out of achieving professional goals. So I really feel like my group and the accountability and implementation frameworks I'm using hit on every single one of these, okay? How do I do that? Well, let me give you the quick and dirty rundown of the group if you don't already know about it, and hopefully you'll see how every single one of these pieces is absolutely baked in to how I've designed this group. So the structure of the program that will provide this accountability is there's 6 modules. It's a 12-week program, so each module is 2 weeks. Each module, the beginning of the first week of the 2-week chunk, the video lessons drop. I'd say that each module is about 1 hour to 2 hours total of material with several mini lessons divided up into mini lessons. The group members watch the videos over the 2-week module, and each module also comes with workbook exercises accompanying the video lessons. So that's the focus on how to implement all the info in the lessons into your own practice and how to troubleshoot potential issues. So that's what the workbook is intended to help with. So that's implementation. And then the big accountability pieces, the theme of today's episode, accountability, comes in the 2-hour group call on the second Tuesday of each 2-week chunk. So the first video lesson is going to drop on September 2nd, which I believe is Labor Day. So the first Monday of September. And then the next Tuesday, so that would be the 10th, will be our first video call, our first live call, the 2-hour group call on the second Tuesday of the 2-week module. So it's a live call with me and with all of the other group members. So the group is going to be capped at 8 people. So even if every single person is on the call, which I hope they are, and the group is filled to capacity, there will be no more than 9 people on that call. So everyone gets lots and lots of time to ask all of their individual questions, to ask those implementation questions, to get feedback, to get support, to get clarification about the assignments, to set their goals, and there's my expert advice leading the whole thing. So in addition to that, the group program is hosted on the Circle platform. That's where all the video lessons will be, everything. But there's a forum that comes with the Circle platform. So as often as you want, multiple times a day if you want, you can be posting questions, getting feedback, asking for support from the group members and from me, so that you're always have a place to go in between those group calls. And then finally, you have one-to-one access to me via Slack, so I can answer whatever's coming up for you individually. I can look at web copy. I can look at specific issues you might be having as you move through the program. So I've tried to think of every possible avenue of accountability and support that I can provide to ensure that you succeed. If you do all the stuff that I'm putting out there for you to do, if you follow the curriculum, as it were, you can and will have booked a $5,000 EMDR intensive by the end of our 12-week program. Maybe even more than one. If you follow all the steps and you engage actively and you do the work. This is a fair amount of work. It's not a fluffy program. I would imagine you're going to spend at least a few hours a week working on it over the course of the 12 weeks. I'm asking a lot of you because I respect what we're doing. I respect the investment that you're making. I respect the changes that you're trying to make in your practice. And I want to give you what you need to be successful. So it's not a simple program, and I'm not trying to sell it as such. I want it to be people who are committed to making this change in their practice. It's not busy work. It's actual steps to get you where you want to be. And you will get there if you do follow those steps, okay? So if you still want more info about the program, if you want to set up a call with me, you can follow me on Instagram. You can look at the group page. You can email me or DM me. I am so excited about the therapists who are already in the program. It's going to be great. Don't miss out on this. I can't wait to chat more with you about how I can serve you best as we move ahead in this. So please reach out if you have any questions. So today I talked a bit about how accountability in a group program will absolutely change the game in which it comes to you succeeding, and how the group program that I am filling right now, starting the first week of September, is the place to get that experience, and how accountability and implementation are kind of key elements that I bring to the program to make sure that you can come out of the program successfully booking high-ticket intensives. So don't miss out. Snag your spot today. As I've said, I'm capping the group at 8 people, and I am anticipating that we will fill. So don't let one of those spots pass you by. So please be in touch on Instagram at futuretemplateparent, or check out my website, www.futuretemplateparent.com, to get all the details on all my offerings. And thank you as always for tuning in, and talk to you next week. Next week's episode will be a little bit more about treatment planning in EMDR intensives and how an excellent treatment plan is the key to successful client outcomes. So I hope you will listen to that. And thank you as always for listening. And I will talk to you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.